IMTEX Forming 2020 is different from the previous edition of metal forming, and what should the visitors expect from this edition of the exhibition?
Well, I think that IMTEX Forming is a specialized exhibition and concentrates on forming. And of course, there's tool tech along with it, which is basically productivity, measuring, etc. Now, forming being such a specialized line, I think that visitors also come specifically when they're interested in something like forming. And it's not only about the size of the exhibition, which is the largest forming exhibition that we have had so far, but it's also the quality of the exhibits, the fact that we have almost half the show consists of foreign participants from about 26 countries, and that we get about 40,000 visitors for IMTEX Forming, probably exceed that. And because it's specialized and because this is a long gestation type of business, so people who come to IMTEX Forming don't necessarily go and order one tomorrow.
Correct.
Even if they did, it would take a year for it to get delivered, etc. So it's really the developmental aspect of forming that comes out in the exhibition. It's interesting that there are very, very large number of laser cutting. There's all types of new ways of welding, cutting, automation, and the fact that handling equipment, which was never really shown before in forming exhibitions, is now becoming integral to the exhibits. And how do you handle the material? What do you do with it? Safety is another area which has a lot of emphasis. And I think the other interesting thing is that you are seeing more and more exhibitors from developing countries.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just India, but it's China and other developing countries that are also exhibiting here. So the nature of the exhibition has changed, and for the better. I think one of the things that we have to keep in mind is that in the overall machine tool size, forming in India constitutes about 25% by value, whereas internationally it's about 35%.
Mm-hmm.
So we still have a lot of headroom, and we don't have enough domestic players in forming. So I think exhibition like this also to help entrepreneurs and people who are in the business or in associated business of looking at investing in this line of business, because the headroom is much larger here than in cutting. And so my guess is that it's a very important exhibition from the point of view that the economy, the nature of the economy is changing. I think you're probably going to see less automotive industry as part of GDP and more of others. And the others are very interesting.
So when you talk about, yes, exactly, yes, which industry
so you see, look at electrical, you look at other things like appliances, you look at furniture. There are so many areas that need forming machines and work with sheet metal. And we have a large production of steel, aluminum, all these necessary, and also the changes in materials that are taking place, the types of materials and the types of requirements. Our defense and aerospace industries are growing. They are big drivers for forming machines. So one good advantage of forming is that you can form a part without removing material. Whereas in cutting, you always have to remove a lot of material. You see, so you get near net shape. So this is the sort of advantage of forming. But we need to see much more development in forming. We need to have more innovation, more R&D, more development, and IMTEX can help in promoting those ideas.
So I just said that this show acts as a catalyst for actually bringing India to global manufacturing landscape. And because we have so many international exhibitors and we also have visitors. Now a follow-up question would be that we all agree that there is a kind of slowdown right now, which is been observed by certain industry sectors. How do you think that this slowdown would kind of see a change through these kind of exhibitions when people come and they have ideas, and you also spoke about entrepreneurs. So how can this act as a catalyst?
Yeah. So I think that the important part for the economy is that the economy thrives on both domestic business as well as international business. And our international business has not developed as much as it should have by now. And a show like this shows, how much more forming equipment is available outside India, which is why they have been able to, take a large share of the market in India. And so there's an opportunity here for entrepreneurs and existing businesses to really scale up and look not just at the domestic market, because I think domestic market, you will see these ups and downs. I mean, the cycle of growth will always be there. And I think if you can hedge it to a very large extent by having a good play in the international market.
And what do you expect from the budget for the manufacturing sector and for the machine tool sector? What kind of expectations?
I think that we should not think that the budget can solve all the problems of the manufacturing sector. It really can't. I think we need a whole series of interventions and policy changes in manufacturing industry to promote it. And the taxation part, which the budget addresses, is a small part of it. Yes, if there was a big reduction in GST rates for capital goods, that could help. But on its own, it will not make much difference. I think you need a whole series of other things. You need to promote R&D, promote innovation. You need to make it easier for people to do business in the first place, from everything, from the point of acquiring land to getting permissions. And, there's a whole series of things. We have been addressing some of them, but I think we are still scratching the surface. There's a lot more to be done to really make it investor friendly. And I think that exhibition like this, where we have put everyone together, can help to break the ice. But we should also curate it. We should also encourage people to go and meet at the universities. The university people go and meet. Now it's all in a very short, small area, and in a few days you can actually make many, many bonds like that. And so I hope that they all take advantage of it. I think that academic pursuits sometimes feel that working with industry is sort of below their intellectual level, but I think they also must get over that feeling and really treat industry as partners to work together for mutual benefit. Because I think unless both sides get something out of it, it won't be lasting.
Thank you very much, sir, for your time.
You.
Thank you.